How are we doing, people, and welcome back to today's video. So in today's video I'm going to be going over 5 ways that you can build muscle in 2020. Now it's important to note in this video I'm going to try and stay clear of the whole mainstream, do your compound lift, make sure you're eating enough calories, etc, etc. Not that those tips aren't important, but I'm probably not the first video that you've clicked on, so I want to try and stay clear of that and just go over some new revised sort of tips that I've got for building muscle in 2020. With that being said, if you do enjoy this video or find it informative, please leave it a like below, and if you're new around here, subscribe button. Okay, so tip number 1 is going to be that there is more than one way to skin a cat. Okay, there's more than one way to build muscle. Now you see a lot of people, say this is the optimal way to build muscle and this is how you should do it. Should you do bodybuilding? Should you do CrossFit? Should you do whatever training methods that's out there? But for me, in my experience and just generally sort of speaking to people that I know, that it's just important to do a training style that you like, because really when you look at it, adherence is going to be a much bigger factor than being optimal with your training style. For example, I could give someone like a 5-day-a-week bodybuilding type program. If it comes down to it and they just simply do not enjoy bodybuilding, they're not going to build muscle because they don't enjoy the training and they don't engage with it well. They might get distracted. They'll just bin it off after a couple of weeks, which isn't going to build you any muscle, funny enough. Okay, now moving into tip number 2, for me, a massive one that's helped me as well, is just to think of your physique in the long term rather than thinking short little goals. Why I feel like this is so vital to building muscle is because if you're constantly sort of going on little cycles of terms of, like, say now it's February, right? If I've then gone on, okay, I've got a holiday booked at the start of June. For 4 months, I'm gonna build the muscle and really transform my physique. I feel like it just creates a very sort of just no long-term longevity with that. So you train in half of that 3-4 months. Realistically, you're not gonna make a drastic improvement to your physique in 3-4 months. Of course, with Instagram nowadays, you see these 8, 12-week, 10-week transformations, and everyone likes the idea of it because it's just such an easy thing. Oh, I've only got to train for 10 weeks and I look good. But in reality, if you want to maintain a good natural physique, then you need to be putting in the work. And I think for me, it's just been a much more mental relief, just thinking, okay, I'm 20 now, but I'm gonna train hard and I'm gonna eat well, I'm gonna enjoy my life, and then I'll revise my physique at 23, because if I'm thinking, oh, by 21 I've got to look like this, then I don't. By the time I get to 21, I might just think, you know what, I'm just gonna sack this off and just completely throw it away altogether. Just thinking long term has helped me so much and made me a lot more consistent and a lot more motivated. All these little building blocks eventually are gonna build a great physique. Okay, so tip number 3 is gonna be a slightly controversial one, but I think that it's still valuable nonetheless, and that is that you do not have to track macros. And before everyone jumps on my back and says, how can you not be tracking macros to build muscle? Of course, if you are tracking macros and you enjoy doing it and you can stay consistent with it, then that is going to be a lot better than not tracking macros. However, I feel like it's got to the point now where everyone's a bit like, you have to be tracking macros to build muscle, and I don't think necessarily you do. Of course, if you are a beginner and you're just getting into the gym and you don't know much about like macronutrient breakdown in food, then of course it can be important to maybe say to someone, look, you need to be tracking your foods for 2-3 weeks, just so you get an idea of portion sizes, how much protein's in X amount of food, how much fat, carbs, etc. I don't think long term, I think once you get a good understanding of what's in what, and roughly, like, you don't have to be to the calorie, to the gram, then you'll just be a lot more relaxed in the future and you won't stress about things. So of course, if you are just getting into the gym or you find it sustainable to track macros, then definitely do it. I'm just telling you now that you don't have to physically do it to build muscle in 2020. Okay, moving on to tip number 4, and that is going to be just be careful with who you listen to and who you take advice from. So of course now with social media, YouTube, you've got so many different sources of information. If you're just a beginner, it's so hard to pick out who's telling me the right information, who's telling me the wrong information. So a good sort of basis of that is look at YouTubers that, if you like, for me, I mainly learn on YouTube or podcasts. So look at ones that there's a lot of them that do science applied videos now, where they'll go into the graphs and stats of why you should do this and why you shouldn't do this. There's plenty of YouTube videos out there that go into that sort of detail. And as well, what I would say is don't solely be married to one source of information. So if you've got like a favorite YouTuber and they're telling you to do this, of course you're more likely to then train like that, but just don't be married to that YouTuber, because what might work for them might not work for you. So I'd say, you know, pick like a good 4 or 5 YouTubers that you really enjoy watching and try and find some sort of common ground with them and then make a decision from that. Okay, so tip number 5 and the final tip for this video is to not compare yourself to anyone else, physique-wise or fitness-wise. Now I know a lot of people say, you know, don't compare yourself to others, blah, blah, blah. We've all heard the sob story, right? But I just feel like with physiques and training, it's just so important not to do so. So that's why I've highlighted it in this video. The main reason being that is just that genetics are just a crazy thing, right? You can have someone who trains so hard, does everything right in terms of nutrition, training, rest, recovery, and just doesn't respond well to someone compared to them that, you know, does training for 6 months, eats whatever they want, goes out all the time and stuff, and they just might respond better to training. So the tip is just don't let genetics, if I can speak right, don't let genetics sort of put you down and, you know, almost becoming an excuse for you not training and not eating well. For myself, I don't consider myself to have great genetics, right? But with that, I can have 2 options. All I have is I can moan and bitch about not having as better genetics as someone else and just continue to be a skinny, you know, unfit person, or I can go, you know what, I haven't got the genetics of X person, but why not just push, train hard, enjoy my training, enjoy my nutrition, and then just see how far I can take myself. 'Cause at the end of the day, I don't want to get too morbid, but when it's all said and done, you're not going to be sitting there and thinking, oh fuck, like I never got to the stage of how this person looks, because once you start seeing the progression with yourself, you sort of get tunnel vision and you just get obsessed with your own result as opposed to comparing yourself to someone else. Anyway, that's that for this video. So hopefully you did enjoy the video. Like I said, if you did, please hit a bit of like. If you found it informative, subscribe for more content that's coming soon. Take care and peace.